Just a second. We're right back. Right here. Which music that we just stop. That's it. That's that. What are you doing there? Anything else, Joe?
eye is flashing yellow above his head. If you can't see.
you. So we play last game before.
this man for coming up on 30 years. 30 years. And this show in year 11 would not exist if he put his foot down with the parent company that birthed us and said, I don't want to have my show follow, this show follow mine. Dan Patrick, known him for that long. Two of his kids have babysat my children. In fact, one of them just came to our house and we were just hanging out. Georgia Patrick. Love the man. But right now, we're playing the feud. Okay? And as a matter of fact, that was one of my Sports Center calls back in the day. I might have said that sitting next to him years ago. Whenever there's a fight in a game or a highlight, I would go and they're playing the feud. That's what I would say. And little did I know that was foreshadowing. Dan's already out the gate talking crap about it. I mean, every single time he's been talking about it. First of all, I didn't know that we could talk about it yet because we're recording it soon and it's not airing for months apparently.
Dan doesn't follow
Celebrity Family Feud. Does not follow.
Yeah. So
he does whatever he wants.
He touches the trophy.
Yeah, without gloves.
That's right. He touches the trophy without gloves.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and plus, you know, I guess I'm in my 30th year of being hazed by it.
You got to stop letting them little brother you, Joe.
And you know what? Well, I mean, if the top 7 or top 8 answers are on the board, we get the question, and I win control of the board, we're not giving it up. No. And it doesn't matter how many years Dan has been my senior. His junior.
I was watching last night. I was practicing.
But every single time he's been talking about it, we hear. Are they giving us crap for playing with Jay Felly? Are they slagging on Jason Feller?
That's what I'm hearing.
Or is that what is happening?
I don't like this.
What's the Felly slander
like
about?
this.
What is it?
Yeah, what you hear?
Basically, who's that guy?
Who's that guy?
Yeah, like, who's going to be their fifth? They don't have a fifth guy.
Well, you're on more than Del Tufo. Del Tufo is.
I've also been on their show.
Jason's worked on their show for them.
I was right here at the board the last time they were in this studio.
Well, now they might just consider you then a behind-the-scenes guy.
And that's fine.
Right. Well, so that's maybe why they're saying. So are they accusing us of finding a ringer or something? Are they thinking that you're like a Family Feud ringer?
Guess so.
Huh.
I don't like that.
Watch
man.
out.
I don't like that at all. So, I mean, is it going to get personal by the time we show up?
Oh, it already did. Once I found this out this morning, I thought about it for a minute, and I'm like, I don't like that, because it's okay with me and Brockman talk trash to feller. You ain't stepping in our house.
You can't make
trash talking.
The one segment that somebody sent me of them talking about our upcoming feuding is that Seton O'Connor is nervous.
Should be.
And I think we should send, I mean, if we're, how does this work? Where we come up with our 5 and they come up with their 5 and
is it like
it's
the
just
Ryder
random?
Cup? Is it like the Ryder Cup? Or
Is it
like you
randomly
announce
against each other? Oh, right. Is there pairings? Like, do Dan and I set the pairings?
Right.
Or did Steve Harvey's people just go, you're here, you're here?
Yeah, it could
We don't
be.
know any of this.
We don't know any of this.
Could be that.
Dan said that he got a list of things because Marvin was asking, like, what are we going to wear? And Dan said he got a list of what's appropriate and what's not allowed.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I haven't gotten any.
Wait a minute, time out. Dan's getting this before you?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it does kind of, in the big scheme of things.
Okay.
It does kind of matter.
All right, well, there's enough time, TJ.
You know what I'm saying, Chris? It does matter.
I know what
It
you're
doesn't
saying.
matter. You're going to take 3 bags to Atlanta anyway.
I need
Before you
3
travel.
options. You know, it's the
You're going to check a bag for an overnight flight so you can have multiple shoe
It's the
options.
ATL, Rich. You gotta go correct.
Should we have like a team shoe?
Team shoe? We can't see our shoes.
Well, you walk out, you might see those shoes.
No, we're having a team shoe.
after
Don't
we win.
overthink it, guys. Just show up focused to play the feud.
I'm ready.
And come up with one of the top answers
Ready.
on the board.
I was watching last night. I'm
Regardless
locked
of
in.
the question.
Because-
But I'm thinking if we compare it out, I want you against Seton. I want my guy with the most game show
Yes.
experience to go against the guy who's nervous to be on it.
You know, I ain't never scared.
Yes.
I ain't
You know what I'm
afraid.
saying? That's the matchup I'm looking for. And then it's got to be Del Tufo versus Fritzy because that's what America needs.
Just so they can come up with none of the answers on the board?
Right?
Or
And
the
then,
most crazy answer.
and then it'll be you versus Paul Pabst.
Right.
Right? That kind kind of makes sense.
Makes sense.
And then Jay Felly, you versus Marvin, so we could say, oh, it's McLovin's replacement.
Who's Marvin?
There you go.
That's so
That's how you
disrespectful.
feel.
But I'm with it.
We're
I'm with
playing
it.
feud. Let's go.
Let's
We're
go.
playing feud.
Come on.
That's what's up. Let's do it.
Let's send the guys back to Connecticut with party gifts.
It wasn't
While we
personal.
celebrate the victory.
Also, I just found out that we are going to be on Celebrity Family Feud. Steve Harvey reached out. He said, would you like to be on Celebrity Family Feud? And I said, I would. Who am I going to be on with? And then he said, well, your team. And I go, oh, okay. I thought I was on with other celebrities. But we're going to be going against the Rich Eisen show.
Let's go.
I got to brush up on my Family Feud. I haven't watched in a while. There's usually a clip, and there's usually a clip where Steve Harvey will look to the camera and just give you that look like, what just happened? Guaranteed to have at least one of those because of you, Fritzy, when we do Celebrity Family Feud. I think we do this in a couple of weeks. Maybe we could rehearse, because we have to be all together here on this. Can you rehearse? Marvin?
More importantly, what are we wearing?
Oh, I don't. You know, they actually did give me a printout of what to wear and not wear. I'll share that with you. Actually, maybe I shouldn't share it with you. I'll just let you wear what you want to wear. Survey says.
Are we going to be all supportive of each other? Like, good answer, good answer. Good if one of us has a horrible answer that we know is not up there.
We do that now.
We do that.
Like, I do that for you.
Yes, you do.
Yes. But yeah, we do have to fake, our love for one another.
Is that what we're gonna do?
I think so.
There?
Yeah. Okay, what's the most important thing here? To be entertaining or to win? Do we want to have goofy answers?
No, I think we got to take it very seriously and win.
I think it'd be pretty entertaining to win. Personally.
You're caught up on this winning thing. Like the Sports Emmy, you want to win it. I just want to get nominated. Like, you put too much pressure on us.
No, I don't.
To win.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, we feel the pressure.
Oh.
Like, it could be a disappointment if we don't win.
Yeah, yes, it is a disappointment when we don't win over and over again. Yes, at this point, the first time we were like, wow, I can't believe we're nominated. We're nominated again. It's like our 6th time now or something. Let's win one. It's just stupid.
Yes.
I have 2 questions. One, do we know what...
It came out overnight that WWE has now done another round of roster cuts, some talent releases. You hate to see this happen. It seems it's like we got... For the longest time, they stopped doing the post-WrestleMania cuts.
Yeah.
And now, for the past couple of years, it seems like they have brought them back. And in quite a large number, actually, when you look at the amount of talent that was released last night and breaking it down. This all comes from Fightful Select and PW Insiders, who last night were reporting all of these releases kind of as they were happening and getting that information out there. Now, to start off, Katana Chance and Caden Carter, they were one of the first names to be announced that they've been released from the company. Obviously, they've had a long background in WWE at this point now. They've made Young Classic, NXT.
Yeah, I mean, Chance started off as Casey Catanzaro all the way back when I was covering NXT on the weekly. But she was from the world of gymnastics. She was a finalist on American Ninja Warrior. She joined in 2017 following a tryout in January of that year. She did step away from wrestling due to a back injury, but returned in 2020, which is when she would form a team with Caden Carter. who's a graduate of Team 3D Academy, who signed with WWE in 2018, and then together they become NXT Women's Tag Champions, and after their main roster call-up, WWE Women's Tag Champions.
Yeah, I forget they had that run as a tag team with the belts because of that, how those belts were treated. But on the main roster, they were, I want to say, a popular act. Whenever I saw them perform live, the live audience really responded to them in shows.
They always had the crowd on side with them.
Yeah, they had those things that they shot out the cooled cannons. It was quite fun. Also released was Shayna Baszler. Obviously, Shayna Baszler, it's a name that everyone knows. She's been around for so long.
I'm absolutely gutted by this. I'm not like entirely surprised. It feels like they've never really quite known what to do with Shayna. But it's just crap. Like, I like Shayna. I've always been a big supporter of Shayna. It's again not entirely surprising, but at the same time, do something with
her. She was someone who's been so underutilized, and I think that's what it is that every time she's on the cusp of like breaking out and breaking through and being the star that we all know that as an audience that she can be, they then go, okay, we're pulling the rug out from under you. We saw this when she was in NXT. We know that she can be the top star.
She was a wrecking machine in NXT.
Absolutely destroyed everyone they put in her path. Then on the main roster, she has a record-breaking Elimination Chamber run where she eliminates every other competitor in that match to go on to WrestleMania. And then she loses at WrestleMania. We then had her sort of merge into the tag team division for a little bit, and that's kind of where she's been found for, I want to say, the better part of the last 3 or so years.
Yeah, it's just she's just sort of in the mix, isn't she? So she obviously came to wrestling from the world of MMA, trained by Josh Barnett. She was a contestant on The Ultimate Fighter as part of Ronda Rousey's team in 2013, hence their very close on-screen and off-screen relationship. She competed under the UFC umbrella in 2014 and 2015 before competing on the indie circuit for the likes of Ring of Honor and Stardom. And then she would join WWE in 2017, entering the Mae Young Classic. She debuted for the NXT roster and, of course, went on to become Women's Champion like an absolute beast.
Like, absolutely incredible run in NXT. She was the one to beat in NXT. It was her
snap your arms off.
It was incredible to see. Following the announcement of Baszler's release, she tweeted, "No one can offer what I have to offer. Reality, let the galaxy burn." Recently, we saw her over WrestleMania week in Bloodsport for GCW.
Obviously, it's Josh Barnett adjacent. So I think that I'd like to see Shayna carry on in the world of indie wrestling. I think she has a lot to give. I think that she can reinvent herself in a way that maybe none of us are anticipating, but at the same time, get her involved with some Warhammer stuff, guys.
There you go. Yes, get her involved with some Warhammer
stuff, guys.
Now, one other name released, arguably maybe one of the biggest, both quite literally and just for who they are, is Braun Strowman. Strowman is someone that, for as long as you can remember, has been as part of WWE, despite the fact that he was previously released and has in his second run with the company. Now Strowman first joined WWE as part of the Wyatt family back in 2013. He came in, he was
the black sheep, right?
He was the black sheep, and strangely, I do remember prior to that him being in Adam Rose's Rosebuds, which was always fun to see this big tall man that was also a monster.
I just liked when it was like, oh, he's spooky swamp guy, Superman tattoo.
He's got a Superman tattoo. He would break away obviously into singles competitor, as a singles competitor I should say, and become Universal Champion, one-time Universal Champion. He beat Goldberg, your boy, at WrestleMania.
He beat my boy at WrestleMania. He sort of fills very much, you know, the big show, the Andre position. They don't really have anybody, like, they've got Omos, but they don't really have anybody with the track record yet that Braun has at that size. So it's going to leave a gap on the roster. And again, Braun's somebody who I think's been slightly underutilized recently, but also has had numerous issues that have required medical intervention. So it's just sad.
Well, it is very sad. Now Braun was released originally from WWE around WrestleMania Backlash in 2022. Was the year he would be part of those cuts. He would go and be involved with Control Your Narrative, CYN. He had a brief run in Ring of Honor. He then returned to WWE in the autumn of 2022. However, his momentum was sort of stopped and stalled, as Sam sort of alluded to. He had neck issues. He had to go for surgery. So his recent run with the company hasn't really showed exactly what he can do as a talent. We did see this incredible rivalry though with Jacob Fatu in the Last Man Standing match on SmackDown a few weeks ago, and the Bronson Reed matches. They were a lot of fun. another talent though that is like just over with the crowds.
Yeah.
People really like Strowman, and it just will leave a big gap with him not
Quite
there.
literally as well. Like
quite literally.
it's one of those things where I thought we were sort of finally starting to find footing when we got to the recent matches with Fatu. So it was like, again, quite a surprising one.
It is a very surprising one. I was very surprised to see that name announced overnight. Another one, Dakota Kai. Obviously, Kai has been absent from being on screen the past few months, or roughly a month in a way. A former Stardom champion, Kai first joined WWE as part of NXT in 2015. She's been around a long time. What always surprises me with Kai is she always seems like much younger. I always think she is like fresh on the scene because of how she comes across. But she has been with WWE since 2015, apart from a brief period of free agency. She would compete in the mid-card as a singles competitor in NXT, forming a tag team with Tegan Nox. When I think of Dakota Kai, it's that moment where she turns on Nox at NXT War Games. Like, what a moment for both of them. And it sucks that looking back now, it didn't work out for really either of them.
And both of them are now free agents, I guess, on the independent scene.
Hopefully, maybe we'll get to see them reform their stuff. Now, Kai was originally released from WWE around April 2022 in the same sort of cuts that Braun Strowman was originally released in, but then re-debuted, returned later that year as part of Damage Control. That is probably what most people know Dakota Kai for, is her run with Damage Control.
It's her most recent sort of statement storyline, right?
Absolutely. Now, at the time of her release, Dakota Kai was seemingly benched from WWE. She tweeted out that she was completely fine. She wasn't hurt.
She was able to wrestle.
Good to go.
Yeah.
But she has been absent from TV for some time. There was a lot of discussion whether she was benched, whether they were waiting to see members of Damage Control to come back, particularly Kairi Sane. But it looks like that, well, it won't be the case now with her being released from the company. Now, she did respond to that on Twitter, though, saying, oh crap, here we go again with the GTA Carl walking down the alleyway in San Andreas. Hopefully she is someone that will land on her feet. We do have some more information about that we'll get to at the end. But who else was released?
So Gigi Dolan, so known as Priscilla Kelly on the indie circuit, she signed with WWE in 2021, having previously competed in the 2018 Mae Young Classic. She was somebody that turned a lot of heads on signing, but she'd go on to be part of Toxic Attraction alongside Mandy Rose and JC Jane, which is arguably what she's known most for, where she'd become NXT Women's Tag Champion. Dolan and Jane would continue on as a team after Mandy Rose's release, before splitting up in February of 2023. But recently she'd been forming a new alliance with Shotzi and Tatum Paxley. They competed for the TNA Knockouts tag titles as part of the ongoing WWE TNA partnership feud thing. But she confirmed her release on Twitter, revealing that she was officially free to work in 30 days.
Yes, so that has given us some indication as to the NXT side of things, and how the cuts work in that regard. 30 days, and it looks like she will be free to work anywhere. Gigi is someone that I think, again, we've sat here before when there's been talent releases, and the keyword is always underutilized. For a company that is so much depth and so much TV time,
and for a talent that has so much to give, as in a lot of the cases here, like the people we're talking about today, it's just jarring, isn't it?
It's very jarring, and a name that I found very jarring to see released last night, Cora Jade, someone who is fairly regular on NXT programming. I mean, as that goes for Gigi Dolan as well,
and Central as well.
Yeah, like there's so many of them that are regulars on television. But Cora Jade, previously Elena Black in the independent circuit, she debuted at NXT in 2021. She had a skater girl gimmick at first. That sort of changed to be more emo focused, I want to say, like just a general emo. She then formed a team with Roxanne Perez, a real life friend, close friend. That had a big blow off feud that was very, very popular for her time in NXT. Recently, though, she has been on the sideline. She obviously had a torn ACL. That kept her out of action for quite some time. She recently returned with Perez. They had a tag team, now on the heel side, and were in TNA as well, challenging for the TNA Knockouts World title. Another name that is surprising based on how much they're used, how much they've been on screen, and how much potential. Now, Cora Jade is still ridiculously young. So much potential in the future.
Like, sometimes it feels like with releases, it is very much go sort of get more experiences, come back.
Yeah.
And she's somebody who I can definitely see eventually the company trying to circle back towards. It feels like she has a lot to give, and she's going to have a lot to give to the industry for a long time. So I definitely one of the more confusing names that I saw on the list this morning.
Absolutely. Now, Cora Jade shared on Twitter a message saying, "Thank you for all the childhood dreams I got to live out. I have a lot to say in due time. Stay tuned." So I'm sure we will have an update from her in the future. Another name released last night was Jakara Jackson. She was part of the Metaphor. Now, this is a release, and I hate to say that it was telegraphed or there was any indication, but on this past week's NXT, the Metaphor as a group disbanded, and it was very clear they have plans for certain members of the team and they don't for others. Now, Jakara Jackson was teaming with, obviously, as Metaphor. They were on the main roster briefly. They had a brief run of tag team matches there. They've been in TNA. They've had a lot of things together as a group, and it looks like that is just over and done with. It's such a shame to see a group with potential that had a lot of fun, and that's the element of it. I think they were a fun group that was on TV that just didn't quite get the chances that they maybe needed.
Yeah, and again, you got to feel that quite a lot of these talent are going to land on their feet wherever they do end up, but it is a shame. I'm wondering how many of these talents who have been working in the TNA cross promotion might end up working with
For TNA. Yeah.
Because you do have storyline bleed there that you can continue. But it's kind of like, especially when it's a team that has been, utilized on the main roster as well. It did feel like things were on the up, and then it's just sort of gone, no, we're kind of going to split, and why?
Yeah, it really does feel that way. Another team that was released in the cuts last night was Gallus, Wolfgang, Mark Coffey, Joe Coffey, obviously known as Gallus. They joined WWE in NXT UK in 2018. Then they moved to NXT over in the US in 2022. They've been NXT UK Tag Team Champions. It just sucks to see, obviously, they helped train The Rock for his return to the ring. They were down in NXT Evolve helping that get set up, so it really sucks to see them cut. Now, some further names that have been released: Oro Mensah, Javier Bernal, Eddie Thorpe, and Riley Osborne were also names that were announced last night. Now, according to Fightful Select, Dakota Kai has already gained a lot of interest from a number of outside companies and top agents in pro wrestling, and is expected to have a lot of offers once her 90 days are up. Shayna Baszler's release reportedly caused a lot of surprise backstage within WWE, as she's been helping out with NXT recently and had re-signed with the company just last year. Now, Fightful reports that all of the main roster releases have 90-day non-competes,
which is sort of the standard.
The standard for that sort of release, whereas NXT talents are expected to be free agents within 30 days, which lines up with what a few of them have mentioned based on their statements on social media. Really sucks to see talent releases, and hopefully all of them land on their feet and manage to get back in and come out of the gate swinging. But if there's any more news regarding further releases, of course, stay tuned at cultaholic.com for more, and we will be back later on today with more wrestling news.
The biggest show in WWE's calendar, plans for WrestleMania are set in stone months, if not a whole year, or even years ahead of time. Well, you would think this would be the case anyway. Sometimes plans need to change, and change fast, with some Mania moments being made just hours, sometimes mere minutes before they actually happened. Finishes, title changes, even entire matches, spontaneous and unforeseen things can happen on the grandest stage. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 WWE WrestleMania decisions that were made on the night. Join us. Number 10, the Hell in a Cell ending at WrestleMania 39 Night 2. Vince McMahon is a lot like a rash. Even when you think you've gotten rid of him, he just keeps on coming back. When the ex-WWE CEO forced his way back into power in early 2023, it threatened to derail Triple H's well-laid plans for WrestleMania 39. The show mostly went off with minimal interference, but one match was sadly affected. Finn Balor and Edge had been feuding for months, ever since the former kicked the latter out of the original version of Judgment Day. They were set to clash at Mania, inside Hell in a Cell no less. The original plan was to have the Irishman go over. This would have been a big feather in Balor's cap, a win over a major star at the biggest show of the year, but unfortunately, Vinnie Mac had other ideas. It was revealed many months later that, on McMahon's orders, Edge was told on the night of the show itself that he would be winning instead. And that is exactly what he did, becoming the only person in WrestleMania history other than The Undertaker to triumph inside the big scary box. Number 9, the Funkasaurus and his mama at WrestleMania 28. Before he set the world on fire as the greatest NWA World's Heavyweight Champion of all time, Tyrus used to wrestle in WWE as the Funkasaurus Brodus Clay. A big man who just loved to dance, Clay would be accompanied to the ring by not only the Funkadactyls, comprised of Naomi and Cameron, but also by his iconic theme tune, Somebody Call My Mama. The song played a big role in Clay's appearance at WrestleMania 28, where he instructed everybody in the stadium to call their own mamas before a dancer dressed as an elderly woman came out and started shaking her ass. A truly classic WrestleMania moment, I think we can all agree. According to the intergalactic dancing dino, he was supposed to wrestle Heath Slater on the show instead. The bout was cancelled to save time, leaving Clay's night in the balance. That was until John Cena himself stepped in. Apparently, Cena went to the bathroom before his match with The Rock, giving Clay enough time to go out and do his thing. Now, you might think this sounds like a load of old rubbish, because it does, but hey, don't shoot the messenger. Number 8, Samoa Joe Squash at WrestleMania 35. The 35th edition of the Showcase of the Immortals was so long that there are rumours that it's still going on to this day. Even with a staggering 7.5 hours to play with, several bouts had to run short, including this one for the United States Championship. Defending champ Samoa Joe's clash with Rey Mysterio started off hot, with the masked man hitting a 619 on his larger foe. Then Joe recovered, locked in the Coquina clutch, and oh, that's it. It's over. Rey versus Joe only lasted a measly 55 seconds, making it the shortest match on the card and one of the shortest in Mania history. According to referee Mike Chioda, though, this wasn't always the plan. Chioda was apparently told that the wrestlers had to take things home right away, whilst Joe was making his way down to the ring. The ref then relayed this information to Mysterio, who swore at him in frustration. Had they been given a good amount of time, Rey and Joe could have put on a clinic. Alas, it was not to be. Number 7, John Cena's rap battle at WrestleMania 19. Everybody knows that John Cena's first WrestleMania match was against The Big Show at number 20, but what's easy to forget is his non-wrestling appearance the prior year. Cena, who was still firmly in his rapper phase, was booked to have a rap battle on the Mania 19 Sunday Night Heat pre-show. His opponents? None other than 26-time Grammy-winning rappers Jay-Z and Fabulous. Getting airtime with mainstream celebrities could have been huge for the young doctor of thugonomics, but sadly, fate had other plans. Beyoncé's husband pulled out of the show a few weeks beforehand, but that's alright, we've still got the other guy, right? Alas, Fabulous left it much later in the day to bail, announcing he wasn't going to be there 2 days before the show. So, what did Cena do instead? Well, he had a rap battle with cardboard cutouts of the rappers, their faces actually stuck on Austin Powers and Mini-Me cutouts. Hey, maybe it's for the best that nobody remembers this. Number 6, The Miz's absence at WrestleMania 36. As the first major WWE show to take place during the pandemic, WrestleMania 36 looked very, very different to what had originally been envisioned. The event was held in the Performance Center in front of a crowd of precisely no one, with the exception of a few camera operators wondering why they were risking their lives to film Baron Corbin versus Elias. Amazingly, the virus had very little impact on the card itself, with the exception of Roman Reigns pulling out and this triple threat ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. What was supposed to be the New Day and the Usos taking on defending champions Miz and Morrison was changed when Miz was sent home from the Mania tapings due to health concerns. As a result, we got the odd visual of 3 singles competitors clashing for a set of tag belts, as the match was changed to Morrison versus Kofi Kingston versus Jimmy Uso. Jomo won, so Miz technically defended a championship without even being there. Number 5, the scrapped matches at WrestleManias 10 and 29. At WrestleMania 10, a match pitting the team of the 1-2-3 Kid, Tatanka, Sparky Plug, that's Hardcore Holly to you and I, and the Smoking Guns against Rick Martel, Jeff Jarrett, IRS, and the Head Shrinkers was booked to take place. However, the legendary ladder match between Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon had overrun, so this 10-man tag was scrapped moments before it was about to happen. With the power of hindsight, it's probably best that the ladder match got as long as it did, but it's still pretty poor form that Shawn and Razor cost 10 lads their WrestleMania moments, especially when one of them was fellow Click member Sean Waltman. Fast forward 19 years and a similar fate befell a planned contest between Tons of Funk and the Funkadactyls and Team Rhodes Scholars and the Bella Twins. A whole bunch of other matches had run long, including Brock Lesnar versus Triple H and CM Punk versus The Undertaker, so this unlucky eightsome were told to beat the traffic instead. Number 4, Seth versus Brock at WrestleMania 35. Back to Mania 35 now, and another match that went a lot shorter than people were perhaps expecting. Royal Rumble winner Seth Rollins had challenged Universal Champion Brock Lesnar to a throwdown at the granddaddy of them all. 2 stars of this caliber surely should have gone on last, but this was the year that Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair were given top billing. Instead, Paul Heyman came marching down to the ring and announced that since his client wasn't going to be the center of attention, he didn't want to hang around any longer than necessary and that his match would be opening the show. It actually turns out there was some truth to this kayfabe excuse. Depending on who you ask, Lesnar convinced Vince McMahon that he should go on first, either to give the main event enough breathing room or so that he could get home early. Whatever the reason, and it was definitely the second one, this turned out to be a great decision. Seth's quick victory over the Beast was a very exciting way to kick things off, and Lesnar could head back to the farm. Number 3, Seth's cash-in at WrestleMania 31. WWE found themselves in quite a pickle at Mania 31. They had booked Roman Reigns to face WWE Champion Brock Lesnar in the main event. Unfortunately for them, fans deeply resented Reigns at the time. The company knew that if Reigns went ahead and won as planned, there may have well been a riot in San Francisco that night, but luckily they had an ace up their sleeve, an ace with a streak of blonde in his hair. As we all know, Mania 31 actually ended with Seth Rollins as champion, the architect having cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase during the main event. What you might not know is that Seth was only told this plan with 2 hours notice, according to former WWE writer Brian Mann. This means that Rollins didn't know he would be winning the belt until after his loss to Randy Orton earlier in the night. Not only was this a genuine surprise, but crucially it kept Reigns away from the top prize. Everybody was thrilled with this decision, well, except for Roman's extended family, who were apparently furious. WWE might have saved the show, but they now had an army of angry Samoans to deal with. Number 2, Blood from a Stone at WrestleMania 13. The match between Bret the...
You know, like there was a Safari video that resurfaced in my algorithm where that lioness runs and jumps in the thing and starts rubbing like a house cat on the people that are in the Safari car or whatever. And everybody's, this is awesome. One second.
Tell us now.
1 second, 1 second. Which goes back to the gorilla conversation. Haven't seen AI simulations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't like the AI simulations.
I have not seen any. How's it going?
A lot of them, 10,000 versus a million. They've done the 100 versus 1. They've done all of this. But the algorithm in the simulation doesn't have the scheme, the strategy, the in-game audibles that humans will have. That is what has separated us from primates, is the opposable thumb.
Yep, sure.
Big deal. And then our I think, reason and logic. I don't know why we got it, to be honest. I have no idea. Sometimes it feels like some people.
Not everybody.
Yeah,
Not everybody.
Bingo, didn't. But it's like that can't account for that. So I'm seeing a lot of people saying we're dead. You know, this gorilla is
simulations.
Boom, 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 boom.
You're gonna need somebody to coach or organize the squad. So you gotta come up with somebody who can lead the other 99.
Yeah, I need a whistle.
Mike
you know?
Vrabel.
Harbaugh.
Mike Vrabel, because if it gets down to
Vrabel and
gorilla or one, even if he has one guy, two humans, Vrabel being one of them.
yeah.
Vrabel will definitely step in. Probably with 5, I assume, is when he'd step in.
MCDC or Vrabel, yeah.
Maybe both. You know?
They could both be in there.
Who's our MVP that we're sending in that we know?
So the MVP are these people that we got to talk into.
The first 25 deaths, the first 25 bullet catchers, that's what.
And they just need, they're doing it, you know.
Give them meth. For real, have you seen those videos of guys on meth and they're getting tased over and over and over again? They keep coming.
And
that's what we need to give these people.
And they could win. You know, that's the selling point to them.
But
most likely dead. And that's this would have to be like end of world situation.
Yeah.
Okay, it would have to be
Death row.
end of world situation here. Yeah, like, hey, this is the only way. And those 10 people would have to be the most confident and also the most willing to be like, if I go down, I go down.
Yeah.
Okay, for the good of everybody. Because we're gonna learn from those first 10, I think.
Highly motivated human being.
That's gonna be.
No, we're not. We're not gonna learn. We're just gonna learn to tire the thing out. That's the only hope. Hey, this thing killed so many people. It's dead time.
Yeah, but every animal, I'd assume, has a flaw.
Yes.
Like, what if the gorilla we're fighting doesn't have a good left hook, doesn't have a good left hand? We don't know.
No.
What if there was an injury back in the woods that we don't know about? Left ankle, maybe just kind of dinged up a little bit. I think we'll learn that through the first 10. Everybody's assuming this is 100%. Is anything 100%?
No.
I don't think so. Well, unless gorillas just don't get injured.
No, they do.
You have to sprain an ankle.
Tell you what they do. Their flaw is, and I've read a lot about it, is their endurance. Like,
Yeah, they're short bursts.
Super tired.
That's why, do we send 10 guys to die, or do we send
one at a time?
10, great Khalis, Lesnar's.
We only need
send
one
them
great
early.
Khali.
Well, that's what,
Are you talking
Do we
great
set-
Khali into this?
oh, I
I think he'd do it willingly.
yeah, I think he's already done
I
it.
saw him circulating the internet, and I forgot about how big some humans can get.
He's big.
Brock is also the same size as a gorilla.
Brock Yeah, and I assume Brock has not heard about this, you know, because he's out in the middle of the woods in Canada, I'd assume. He's probably offended.
Super.
By the conversation.
Yeah.
100.
Come on.
Yeah. And then
how much does a silverback weigh? Like a normal silverback? What do they weigh?
Think about
Like
Bones
500?
Jones.
It was like 400 or 500 pounds. Yeah.
Think about Bones Jones, okay? And now I know now we're maybe disrespecting the athleticism of a silverback gorilla.
I don't think
okay? I might be doing that at this moment. And to all the silverback gorillas that are listening, no disrespect. I'm standing up for humans here.